comes out from Fightful that Kevin Owens has re-signed his WWE contract. We don't know the exact specifics of how long it is, but I assume it's at least 3 years. But KO has re-signed, so the sort of the push that he's gotten in the last few weeks, I guess, has made a difference, and he has decided to stay. And I believe that you are happy about this development, Finn. Tell us why.
Well, I mean, to me, I mean, Owens, I said earlier in the year, Owens just needs to leave. He's done everything he can do. I was wrong about that. He's come up with a new character. We know Owens is multifaceted, very well rounded. He can do all sorts. There isn't anything this guy can't do, let's be honest. Mm-hmm. So he's come up with this new character, which is obviously motivating him to produce some of his best work to date in the company, and has motivated him to resign as well. And I imagine the contract's juicy. I imagine it's a nice contract, Kenny.
Yes.
And this is one of the great benefits of AEW, WWE, having this competition, if you like. WWE knows that AEW's got got deep pockets. It can afford to pay talent big money, and that drives a talent who both companies want. It drives that talent's market price, market value up. So Owens here has been a beneficiary of that. And good for him. But I would say also, Kenny, this bodes very well for Kevin Owens's title aspirations at day one. That's what I would say. But no, I think I like the character he's playing. I think it's got legs. I think it's got a lot of mileage left in it. I think now he's committed to WWE for presumably 3 years. I think WWE will give him another title reign. I mean, we all remember the way in which his last title reign ended at the hands of Goldberg. I mean, that was most dissatisfactory, let's be honest. So, I mean, I'd like to see Owens, enjoy, a decent reign. If he wins at day one, I'd like to see him hold the belt at least until WrestleMania. Presumably, he'll drop the belt to Big E or another babyface. But I think Owens as champ, I think that could be very interesting. And I think having committed himself to WWE for a lengthy period of time, I think WWE will reciprocate and, show its appreciation for Kevin Owens' commitment to WWE by handing him the big prize. That's my prediction. What do you think, Kenny?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's definitely in with a good shout now to be champ, especially that he's re-signed. In terms of him re-signing, I'm kind of torn on it because whenever he's booked well, I think he's great in WWE. The stuff with Vince and Shane in 2017, the stuff with Jericho in 2016, the stuff with Sammy in 2018. But there's so many periods where he is just not doing anything that's kind of bothered me. And I think that the reason that I thought he might go to AEW is because AEW we've talked about this before, in the next kind of 6 months, there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to either leave or be very dissatisfied because there's so many people on the roster, and I thought Kevin Owens would maybe try and get in there before it's too stacked, because he would be somebody who they would automatically push as a at least upper mid-card name, and he'd be treated like a big deal. But I think the upside is that if WWE and AEW both, WWE knew that AEW would be interested in him, so they would have made him a bigger money offer. He's chosen to take it, so Kevin Owens is rolling in it. So at least there's that for him. And if he holds the title and has a big match at WrestleMania, great. Maybe even bring back Goldberg to beat him up. Maybe he can let him let Kevin Owens beat Goldberg up. Not the other way around.
Yes. I'm all for that. Yeah.
And Ollie in the chat's there saying, I think the 4-way at day one is really unpredictable. Can see any of them winning. It's a really good point because it's kind of wide open. You could see Lashley win, you could see Rollins win, you could see Owens winning, or you could see Big E retaining. So it's good to have a level of unpredictability.
Oh, absolutely. And that just shows how well booked this has been and how well set up it's been. And there's still a few weeks to go before day one. But I think they've done a good job of making this into the number 2 match on the show. I don't think anything can top the Reigns-Brock Lesnar rematch. But I mean, it's hard to predict who's going to win in the Lesnar-Reigns rematch. You would think Lesnar, but I mean, that seems unthinkable that Roman Reigns wouldn't be Universal Champion at this point. But I mean, that's a really interesting match, as is this 4-way between Lashley, the newly signed or contract extended Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and of course Big E. But I think Big E's losing the title, but I think he will reign again. I think he'll have another day in the sun at some point in 2022.